Find out a way to get consistent 5-star reviews effortlessly for your flooring company. This video is going to give you all of the tools and knowledge that you need to get consistent reviews from your customers on autopilot. Reviews are so important for any local business selling to the local area. Reviews will give you a better reputation, it will give you better conversion rates, it will increase the visibility that you get on search engines, more specifically Google Maps. They will increase the amount of leads you're getting, and most importantly, they're going to make you more money. And the reason that most local flooring companies struggle to get reviews is because they don't have a good system in place. So make sure you stay to the end of this video where I'll be giving you my exact system laid out on a template that has proven to get flooring companies consistent reviews. So before we get started, make sure you hit the like button and also subscribe to this channel so you don't miss any future updates. So, when we're talking about reviews, where should you actually be getting reviews from? Because there's a ton of websites you can use to get reviews from, but really there's only a few that actually matter within the flooring niche. So the first one and most important one is Google Reviews, and this is also known as Google Maps. And Google Reviews has a direct impact on where you rank on Google Maps. When people search for local products and services, Google Maps is pretty much always at the very top of the page, and it stands out the most on that page. Google Maps is generally the bit that people see first. And not only do they see it first, they see the first 3 top ranking websites in Google Maps. And the bit that stands out to them most within those 3 websites and within those 3 companies that are being presented on Google Maps is their star rating, their review rating. So let's say that you have 5 reviews and it gives you a total of a 4-star rating. But your competitor has a massive 50 reviews and they've got an overall score of 5 stars. So let's face it, in this instance, you don't stand much chance against your competitors. If your competitor has 50 5-star ratings and you have 5 reviews that equals 4 stars in total, then your competitors are just way ahead of you. They're going to get the clicks and they're more likely to get the sale. The second most important place to get reviews from is Facebook. Facebook is another massive place for local flooring companies. I see people forever asking for recommendations for local flooring companies and local fitters and all of that kind of stuff within the local groups. So imagine if someone does ask that question within a local group and then one of your friends or someone that has used you before tags your business in that particular post, and then someone else comments and they know your competitors and they tag your competitors within that post as well. And again, we can use the same scenarios we did on the Google reviews, where your business has 5 reviews and that totals a star rating of 4. But your competitors who are also tagged have 50 reviews and that totals a 5-star rating. When that person who asked for that recommendation is looking through the comments within their own post, who do you think they're going to choose? I think the answer is quite obvious. It's also worth noting that Facebook business pages are presented within the search results as well. So when someone is to Google your own brand name, when the results come up, it's likely that your Facebook page will come up in those results. And if you have a lot of 5-star reviews on your Facebook page, that's going to show within those results. And then the third most important place to get reviews from is local directories and also lead generation sites. Now, I haven't specified a specific one because it might change from location to location, but there are a few leading sites that most flooring companies are on, and I'm just going to name a few that you can then decide whether you actually want to sign up for. So the kind of places I'm talking about is Check a Trade, Trust a Trader, Yell, and Bark. Now, they all run their operation in a slightly different way. Some you have to pay a yearly subscription for, some you don't pay anything for, and others you pay per lead. But whichever one you use, again, you need to be pushing for reviews because they work on reviews. Without reviews, your listing is pushed to the bottom and your competitors with more reviews are going to get more of those leads. And again, a lot of these places, when you search your brand name, you're displayed within the search results, a bit like you are with Facebook. So again, it's more trust if people can see that you're in multiple places and every place that you're in has got good quality reviews and a lot of good reviews. So now we know where to get reviews from and the most important places that you should be pushing for reviews. Let's just take a look at some review rules. So I just want to run through a few simple rules that you should follow when it comes to reviews. The first one, most importantly, is to respond to every single review, whether that be good, bad or fake. And when you do respond to these reviews, you need to stay professional. Don't let negative or fake reviews trigger you. Respond with only the truth and the facts. And if you can, empathise with them. Understand their frustration. And whatever you do, don't get into an argument with them. There's literally nothing worse than people having arguments online. You will look so much better if you simply explain the situation and then work for a resolve. And sometimes it's actually quite amusing giving angry people empathy and consideration, because it's one of the last things that they expect you to respond with to their angry comment. The next rule is to take feedback seriously. If you genuinely are running a bit of a shit show, then you need to sort it out. If within a customer's review they give you a little bit of advice on how you can improve your service, then take it on board. And the third rule for reviews is making sure that you get the right information in the first place from your customer, so you can then request reviews from the right channels. And really, this boils down to two things. It's their mobile number and it's their email address. You need the two most direct ways to contact their customer when you're requesting reviews. So now let's take a look at the most common reasons that you're not getting reviews at the moment. The first thing is you're simply not asking for them. 9 times out of 10, if you don't ask for a review, no matter how good the job is, no matter how well it went and how happy they were, they're not going to give you a review. You need to be on their case. You need to request reviews. You can't just simply sit back and wait for them to come to you, because it won't happen. And if it does happen, it happens once in a blue moon. The next thing is that you don't have a process. If you're manually emailing them whenever you get a bit of free time, that's not going to work in the long run. That isn't a process. If you're writing little notes down on sticky notes and things like that, again, that's not going to work. You need a proper system in place that's going to prompt you and make sure that you do it every single time. And then the third reason that you're not getting reviews at the moment is because you simply haven't got reviews set up in the right places. So like we discussed at the beginning of this video, you need to go back and make sure that you've got all of those places set up. Because sometimes someone might not have a Google account and they might not be able to leave a review, but they have got a Facebook account and they'd rather leave one there. So what we don't want is people to have an excuse not to leave a review. We want to make sure that we're covering all of the main channels so that when you do have a happy customer and they are ready to leave a review, they've got a few choices. So now let's look at some ways that you can actually start getting reviews. The first way, and the most simple way, is to start giving out review cards. As soon as you've completed a job, make sure that your fitters then go to the van or whatever, wherever they're keeping them, get the review card out and give it to the customer. Make sure that you've always got a stack of review cards on you. Keep them in the van or keep them in the toolbox, wherever, but as long as you've got them. Another way of giving a review card is by creating an aftercare brochure. And then you just pop the review card within the aftercare brochure. Or you have the review card actually as part of the aftercare brochure. So then they're not just getting a review card. You're not just after that review, you're giving them something else of value as well. The second way is email. And this one's simple. Send them a series of emails straight after the job's complete. You need to send more than one email though, because the likelihood is that first email is going into the junk folder. And if the first one goes into the junk folder, the second one goes into the junk folder, maybe the third one won't go into the junk folder. And that could be the one where they leave the review. The third way is text message. And in my experience, this is by far the best way to ask for reviews. Because with a text message, they are absolutely going to get that message and they're absolutely going to read that message. It won't get caught up in any junk mail or spam folders, and they're probably not getting many texts these days, because really, who actually sends many texts? Most people use things like WhatsApp, so if you send them a normal text, then that's going to come through, it's going to stand out. And then lastly, everyone's phones are pretty much linked up to every social account and email account they have. So it's going to be super easy for them to write a review straight from their phone, as opposed to writing it on their computer. You might catch them at the right time. They might be sitting in a waiting room or something like that when you send that message. And so they're going to sit there and just write a review just to kill a little bit of time. The fourth way to get reviews is by giving them a phone call. The thing is, with a phone call, you'll get instant feedback. They'll either answer or they won't answer. But if they answer, then you're going to have them at the end of the phone. You're going to be asking them questions, whether they're happy with the job. And then you're going to say to them, can you leave us a review or not? Now the thing is, people will say anything on the phone to get you off the phone. So they might just go, oh yeah, we'll leave you a review, but they don't actually do it. And that's why when you get off the phone, you then need to send them a text and an email straight away. And really, these days, how many people actually call you up after they've done a service for you to get your feedback and make sure that you're a happy customer? So really, all of this is improving the customer experience, and they're even more inclined to leave you a good review. The fifth way is by post. So like we was talking about earlier with the review card and the brochure, you can send that through post. Because again, how many people get direct mail these days? It's become less and less. So if they get that little aftercare brochure with the review card within the aftercare brochure, that's going to stand out. And then the sixth way is incentives. An incentive can be a discount off of a next purchase if they leave you a review. I've had it where companies have offered me an Amazon voucher if I leave them a review. Or you could give them a free service, like a aftercare kind of service. Or alternatively, you could partner up with other local companies that would offer services that would complement your services. So for example, a cleaning company, and they could get a discount off of that if they leave a review. So to get reviews consistently, you need to have a system in place. And a good system will utilise a lot of what we've just covered. For example, getting consistent reviews and creating a good system doesn't rely on just one channel. It relies on multiple channels, because some people respond better to different channels in different ways. Some people might be more inclined to leave a review if you emailed them. Others might be more inclined if you sent them a text message. And then others might appreciate a phone call. An effective system needs to use automation as much as possible, because you cannot rely on simply remembering or leaving it up to your staff to remember, because the chances are at some point they're going to forget, they're going to get caught up in other work, and the system's not going to be put in place. So let's look at system steps. Let's look at a basic system that I use that actually does get results. And you can start using this system today to start getting more reviews. So the first step is to print a load of review cards and give them to your fitters. And you make sure that they know at the end of every job they need to give those review cards to the customer. Now, you want your logo and branding on the review card, but you don't want much else on there other than the link to the place that you want the review from. And one of the easiest things that you can do is create a QR code, and that takes you directly to the review or a place where all review links are. So for example, if you wanted the customer to leave a review on Google Reviews, on Facebook, and Checkatrade, you could set up something called a link tree, and you could have the QR code linked to that link tree, and then when they scan that QR code, it takes them through to the place where all three of those links are. Alternatively, if all you care about is Google reviews, then that QR code needs to go straight to your Google business profile and straight to the bit where they can leave a review. The trick is you don't want any kind of barriers in front of leaving a review. You need to be as direct as possible, because if you put barriers in the way that make it take 5 minutes longer for the customer to leave a review, then the likelihood is that people are going to get to the review stage and then they're just going to back out because they haven't got the time or they don't want to do it anymore. Step 2 of the process is to give them a phone call. Give them a phone call 2 days after you fitted the job. Ask them, were you happy with the products and services that we provided? And if yes, just say to them, would you mind leaving us a review? If it's a no, then follow the process that you have in place to fix this. But don't rely on them just to get off the phone and leave a review. Send an email and text straight after. The third step is right after the call, text them. Text them a little thank you message and then put the direct link to the review page within the text. Step 4 is simply to follow up 5 days later by text message again, and that would be text number 2. Step 5 is again to follow up 5 days later by text message. Just simply send them a gentle reminder with the link again, and that's text number 3. Step 6 is then to follow up another 5 days later by email, and again the same as the text message. Make sure that the direct link is within the email. And then step 7, 5 days later, is one last email. Send them another reminder with the direct link within the email. If they don't get back to you after this email, that's it, we call it a day. That's 7 touch points. You can't do any more than that. If they're not going to leave you a review after 7 touch points, then they're not going to leave you one ever. And that whole process roughly takes around 25 days. Because with reviews, you've got to strike while the iron's hot. Don't leave them months and months and months, because the longer you leave it, the less likely you're going to get a review. And there is tons of software out there that can automate this process. You can easily automate emails and text messages. The phone call, you obviously can't automate that, but you can set reminders to make a phone call. And you need to remember that you need to be making multiple touch points, different times of day, different days, and on different channels. Because everyone's lives, everyone's schedules, everyone's free time or spare time, and their priorities are all different. So you need to send messages on different channels to make sure you're covering all bases. And if you want to implement this strategy right away, you can download the free template that I've just spoke about in the description below. And then one thing that is extremely important within all of this is tracking. If you don't have one, you need a CRM, which stands for Customer Relationship Management. This is a piece of software where you can enter every single customer's details, and then you know everything you've ever done with them. The products you sold to them, the services they've bought off of you, the campaigns that you've put them in, whether they've left a review, whether they haven't left a review. You can go back to this CRM, you can see absolutely everything there is to know about this customer. And by having all of this information about your customers in a database, it means that you can personalize these emails. You can personalize these text messages. Make sure that every email and text message you send is always addressed to their first name. And if you can, personalize it even more. So for example, if they've bought LVT flooring off of you, or if they bought carpet off of you, then you could even put an automation where it mentions the type of flooring that they bought off of you. And this makes the email or the text message super personal to them, and it's going to make them feel special. It's going to make them want to leave that review. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below, or get in touch through the form on my website. Thanks for watching.